Ian Liddell-Grainger, welcome to the Mediabox. You're concerned that this pandemic may lead to some countries sweeping aside the rules of democracy and human rights and so on. What is the fear, and has it been happening?
Well, it's not so much sweeping aside. Some countries have taken more draconian measures than others. My own country, United Kingdom, has put elections back. Many have changed the election process, and some have actually brought in laws and, dare I say, rules which do question whether democracy is being served. But I think the most important thing to remember is that all of this must be temporary. Whatever is happening or is happening because of what's happening with the coronavirus, it needs to be temporary. Democracy cannot be tinkered with. And I think the concern in the report and the concern of all my colleagues, because there were no amendments to this other than one country, is that we are in a state of enormous flux. We accept that, but we have to go back to normal as quickly as possible. And that includes election, democracy, and the rights of people to be listened and heard.
You mentioned that if elections are to be postponed, delayed, then it has to be in consultation with opposition parties. Are there signs that that has not been happening? The governments have been taking arbitrary decisions.
In certain countries, yes, and I'm not going to name countries because I think that's not what my report is about. My report is really to try to get people to understand that this is unprecedented. We haven't had this probably since the flu epidemic of the early 20th century. And therefore, the book is being written as we speak, and the book will continue to be written as the months go ahead. But the most important thing, I think, is that people need to understand that the opposition and the people that are in every country in Europe, the 48 countries, need to be listened to. And they have to be listened to openly and sensibly. Everybody understands where we are. Everybody understands the problems we're facing. Governments must realize that they have a moral and a legal responsibility through the convention and through their own domestic laws to be able to handle this in a sensitive and, dare I say it, responsible way.
Also, of course, this is necessary to retain public confidence, I suppose, in democracy and the rule of law.
Absolutely. We have seen certain countries where people have taken the law into their own hands. We've seen countries where people are concerned about face masks, distancing, vaccinations, democracy generally. And again, it's not one size fits all. Countries which you think wouldn't have a problem have, and other countries which you think might have a problem haven't. And I think this is endemic of the way people are perceiving in this world of instant news and instant access and instant media, where they can access things and not always the right way. I think a lot of people are taking information and it isn't the correct information they're gleaning. So therefore, it is the responsibility of governments to make sure that the media message and the message to the people is very concise, very clear, and also is done, dare I say, in an encompassing way, not in an executive way.
What do you feel that your report will achieve in terms of trying to secure the continuation of democracy in its normal way?
Well, I think there's two things. First of all, is we're trying to show where we are at this moment in time, which is very difficult because the scenario is changing all the time, and I don't need to tell anybody that. But second, I would like to think that we can put this report on a shelf and it will gather dust. But this will happen again. It may not be this, it may not be SARS, it may not be Ebola, it may be not whatever, it will be something. And this report can be taken off the shelf and the dust blown off it. And our predecessors, the people who will follow us, can say, yes, this is what they did in 2020, 2021. And they can use that as a checklist to say, yes, we need to look at this more carefully. We need to talk about this and that. And dare I say, countries can look at this. And if we expand into other areas, those countries can look at this. So I hope it's a sort of checklist for the future. And again, like I said, you colleagues have been very kind. They've given me enormous amount of information, encouragement and support right across political divides and countries. And that has been crucial to this, because we're trying to do what we can to foster opinion in a humane way, which will be able to be used and stand the test of time, which is quite a challenge.
Ian Liddell-Grainger, thank you very much indeed for your time.